Welcome back to the Wild Ones podcast, the show where we chat about bike stuff. I am Jimmy, and today I am joined by producer Emily.
Hello.
And Francis CADE.
Hey.
And thank you to Garmin for supporting the podcast and helping us to bring you shows like this for free.
So, how's everyone doing?
A little bit sore.
Why?
Can't say. Because we were filming a video last night in the studio, pretty late.
Secret video.
But it's a secret and can't tell anyone.
It is a little bit annoying we can't tell anyone because it was really good, wasn't it?
They're really good.
It's going to be a great video. It was great fun. We invited some of our friends over from the local cycling scene and they were absolutely amazing. And like I said, we can't tell you anything about it, so just look out for that in the future.
Terrible way to start a podcast, really, isn't it?
Sorry, guys.
We can give some like little hints. Ben Chapper's ended up on the floor for a long time. That's not giving away too much.
Well, something we can talk more about is your Standert video.
Oh, yeah.
This is your first look on is it Kreisiger? Is that the way to say it?
Kreisiger. I nearly got our friend Steffi to do the, just like take her lips and say the word properly. We call it the Kreisiger RS, but it's not. RS is pronounced differently in German. She told us off.
I can't remember what it was.
Well, it means circular saw, and it is a bicycle made of aluminium. It is very, very stiff.
And scandium.
And scandium.
Which sounds like a made-up thing to me. It sounds like
It's a bit Superman, isn't it?
It is Superman.
Yeah, they mix some elements into the aluminium. Well, they're all alloys, aren't they? But this one in particular is a fancy one, which costs a little bit more, and the bottom bracket is oversized, and it was just very, very stiff. And honestly, a great bike to ride. I think I want one.
Do I get the impression that you guys were almost hesitant to want to like it? Because it has like... Some people might not have heard of it, but I think if you're on Instagram, it's a very like Instagram cool bike, isn't it?
The word you're looking for is hipster.
Yeah, it's hipster, which I don't mind. I think it's cool. I buy into all of this. Tell me something's cool and I'll think it's cool.
It is a cool bike. But I think what I'm not a huge fan of is that you are paying a premium for cool. And I don't think you are getting a better bike for that premium. And the bit for me, actually, I think is actually a deal breaker is the head tube welds not being finished very nicely.
Would you look at that every time you rode it and thought,
why haven't they sanded them down and smoothed them out? Because there's cheaper bikes, and Masakan's a great example of it. We've done a video on their bike. It's £1,000 cheaper for the frame set, and the finish on that bike is better than the Standert one.
Also, that the first iteration of the Canyon you guys tried.
Oh, that was fantastic.
it was so smooth it just looked like carbon.
Yeah.
It looked like a carbon bike.
No, that
was the Canyon.
The original Endurace, not the new one.
It.
And then they lowered the price, and then they made the wells less pretty, I would say, but justified because the price was less.
But yeah, I'm okay with that because the bike was very, very, it was a good value, whereas this Standert is
£2,000.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
Yeah, for the frame set.
It's a lot of money.
And
it is a great bike. It looks super cool, but I don't know. It either needs to have a better finish or be cheaper, in my opinion.
I think I said in the video, the right bike is the one that you look at and you want to ride, and then it makes you go ride. And I think if I had that in my kitchen, I would go ride it loads, maybe more than my current bikes. But do you want that level of stiffness on UK roads? Perhaps not.
I think the bit for me is it's a little bit in like no man's land, no person's land, whatever you want to call it. So it's expensive, and it isn't a race bike. It's not a really fast race bike. So if I was spending £2,000 on a frame, then you get into that space of what can you get for £2,000 for a pure road bike that's fast and aggressive, and when you look at it, you go, I'm going to be absolutely hammering it on that. I think what it tells me is a steel bike is better. It's going to be more comfortable. It's going to be more compliant. It's going to be whenever I want to put an effort in, it's going to be pretty much as fast because neither of them are aero bikes.
It's going to last longer.
But the steel one.
Yeah.
And it'll last longer. And if I wanted something where I was going to go, I want to ride really, really, really fast, then unfortunately I would probably have to look at the carbon space because it's going to be faster.
We didn't really cover any of the other bikes that Standert make, but they do steel bikes as well. And they do stainless. So there's a lot of options there.
Yeah. The geometry is really good. I do like the geometry on it. Mm-hmm. It's a cool bike. But I don't want one.
It is the most up-to-date aluminium frame, for sure. I think it's the best. Off the peg, you can't get much better. The new Cannondale might be coming out based on some WhatsApps that have been thrown around.
What does that mean?
CAD 13? No, CAD 40. Wait, how many CADs are there?
I think it'd be 14.
It'll be 14. Yeah. Yeah, I missed one.
Why, who's telling you that?
It's the internet.
Oh, right.
Someone rightly pointed out in the comments, we didn't talk about the configurator. And I think one of the things we could probably add to the first look videos is a bit about the buying experience for the customer. Mm-hmm. And Standert will sell direct to consumer. In most cases, I think. We reviewed the Ridley at the same time. Both of these bikes have a configurator online, so you can, in theory, make a bike which is ready to ride off the bat. You unbox it, it arrives. In the Ridley's case, it would arrive to a bike shop. And this is what they kind of use it as an excuse for their lack of customization options. They've got one crank length on the normal configurator for that bike. This has multiple. You can change stem lengths, you can change the bars, you can change the wheels, you can change the group set. It really does let you tune it and sort of look at all the different price points, which I think is a great thing. Loads of other bike brands do this, but perhaps, you know, in some cases, it looks like there's a configurator, but then the options are just crap. So we should be pointing this out for people watching them. This is something you really want to know. I think we should add it.
I agree. It's something worth celebrating because you guys always make such a point of when bikes do come with what you see as, you know, too larger components for the frame size that you're getting, then it's definitely worth pointing out brands that are doing it well.
It effectively increases the value because you don't have to spend more money changing stuff, which you inevitably end up having to do on lots of off-the-peg bikes. Like the cranks will be the ones that you want. The stem will be the one you want. You can probably get the saddle that you want or pretty close to it, and then not have to change those things.
And look, when you're saying that it is definitely at the higher end of the price range, but maybe that's the sort of thing that you get at the higher end of the price range is better customization. You end up with a bike that you're then not spending extra money on.
There's plenty of brands out there doing it for bikes that are not as expensive as that.
Okay.
So I don't think that is in line with the price.
Well, someone's written down here, and I think it's Francis, best aluminium bike possible.
Possibly, question mark.
Oh.
Is what I meant.
Okay.
I think off the peg, I don't know, I've been thinking about it for a while. If you want a modern geometry bike made of alloy, this is the best there is. Off the peg. You could make something amazing custom. You could go to a frame builder and get something really cool, but we're talking like, you know, what can I get next week? Assuming there is stock. Another thing we didn't talk about, and there is history of Standert maybe purposefully not having that much stock of bikes. It's the scarcity thing, isn't it? Like, it's a tool they use in their marketing, but
it has pretty much been the industry for the last sort of 4 years, though. Everyone seems to be struggling with stock.
Yeah,
I'm sure that's coming to an end now, but so it might be that has just been a product of the last few years. I know I keep bringing them up, but and you do the point that you made of that bike being available in stock does negate the point I'm about to make. But I still can't get over the fact that I can get a really good alloy bike from Masakan with custom geometry. I think that it takes them 6 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever it is. So yes, off the peg, it probably is the best alloy bike you can buy. But I would rather get a Masakan.
They don't do the tubes though.
I'll ask them. But also I don't think the tubes add that much value. I don't think the Scandium thing makes it that much better.
Yeah, they go so hard on the marketing. That everything's Scandium, everything's Scandium.
It's because it's a cool word. I would as well if I was doing something with Scandium.
It's a cool word.
We should rename CADE Media to Scandium.
It'll make it lighter.
It was a light bike, wasn't it?
It was
7.5
light.
kilos.
But it was
also like 10 grand build.
Carbon everything.
With scopes, yeah. the wheel set's like £4,000.
My ears pricked up. I just got expensive taste in bikes.
So it's full Dura-Race group set. The scope wheels, which are regarded as being the most aero and the lightest wheels on the market, and I think they're £3,300. Carbon, everything else, like it should be incredibly light.
Should be a great bike.
And the disc brake skeptics, I'm going to do this for you. If that was a rim brake bike, same spec, rather than it being 7.6, which I think it was, it probably would have been 6.2.
But you wouldn't be able to stop down a hill, so choose your battles.
I wish they did a rim brake one. I probably would have switched my frame and bought one.
Really?
For what, your Scott?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm willing to bet. We could ask Masakan and they would do a rim brake for you.
Jimmy, you getting secretly paid on the side by Masakan?
No, I just think they are cool. They've got great colorways. I've chatted to the founder a couple of times, and he's like such a like French hippie. Like you'd think he was living in like a surfing community. They're just like proper like hippies, and their bikes are great and they're really good value.
Jimmy is so like anti-mainstream that like even Standert's too mainstream for him. You know what I mean?
It is, yeah.
He has to find that extra bit of rarity.
Standert like 5 years ago was cool. now they're just mainstream like Panamal.
This is like when we go back to London and he's like, Shoreditch isn't the same, man. I remember when I lived in Shoreditch and it was not like this. And
To be fair, Acne-Wick has changed a lot.
Yeah. This is only going to make sense to about 20% of our listeners. So I shall wrap this up and move this on. Shall we see what's been happening in the news this week?
Yes, please.
Yes, so I'm going to mention this briefly. Just after we talked about Visma getting their bikes stolen at the Vuelta, 20 Total Energies bikes and a bunch of their tools got nicked too. And now Little Trek is saying that all of the teams should probably beef up their security.
I'm a little bit bored of hearing about teams getting their bikes stolen. It's just like every week now we're getting a new report. Sort it out, lads.
Anyway, elsewhere, Shimano has just unveiled a huge redesign of their classic SBD cleats. So on the traditional ones, you put your toe in first and then you stamp down to clip in. This new version has multiple entry points. So you can go in toe first, you can go back of the foot first, or you can just stamp down. Essentially like a speed play. No?
I think a speed play, you technically have to go
Only
over
stamp
the
down.
top. You have to stamp down.
That's true. Like a speed play plus more things. The new cleat is backwards compatible with their existing 2-bolt SBD pedal and shoe systems too.
Yes. That last bit was what I was worried about. I was like, when I saw that, I'm like, why are you trying to fix the best pedal system ever in the world? Like, just leave it. It's not broken. But if it's just a cleat, it's optional, maybe it will turn out to be crap. And then we won't have to use it because the old ones will still exist.
Yeah, this is it.
It looks the same as well, doesn't it?
It does look the same. Yeah,
Identical.
I was trying to work out
how are they going to market their code? It just looks like a cleat.
Yeah, but I think so. Their applications, they're saying mountain bike, enduro, gravel, cyclocross, basically technical off-road terrain gives you more versatility, I guess, and also new riders. And listen, if you are a new rider or if you're any kind of rider, you don't have to use clipless pedals if you don't want to. However, I think actually just their normal version of the pedal is a great entry point into clipless. And I think that it sounds like this would be even better again.
Do you know why it's a good entry point?
Multiple entry points.
Because it has multiple entry points. Even the old one had 2 entry points because it's both sides of the pedal.
Exactly.
That's half the reason why it's better than the road one, isn't it?
100%. And it's the reason why for a long time I also rode Speedplay. And now I'm not riding any road cleats and I'm just using the SBDs. As are all of us. Is that right?
You got some road shoes.
Yeah.
Like I do as well. They're just there.
I think on this topic, we've completed the whole bell curve. I think we probably all started off at the beginning on those off-road shoes and pedals. We then all went into
cycling is life.
Cycling is life, road for
What's
road.
a life? Yeah.
off-road for off-road. And now we've kind of come back down and gone, look, if I have one pair of shoes and one pair of pedals and everything, it just is more practical and easier. And it's interesting. I noticed someone commented on your first look of the Ridley saying, why are you wearing off-road shoes on a race bike? And last night at the event we're not allowed to talk about, we were the only ones who had the off-road shoes and pedals. And everyone else there had road shoes and we had to change the pedals.
To be fair, I would have used road shoes in our event, but I was in the middle of us and I knew you lot were using SPDs and I just couldn't be bothered changing them. So I just used my SPDs. I do like a road shoe though. There's something about them which is more...
Sorry, I just got to the end of my drink. I'm trying to slurp off camera. Done. Sorry.
But I only use them on my very road special occasion bike when I know I'm going out on a very road ride, which is about 5 times a year.
And it's never when we're filming one of these.
No.
Because what people don't see is that there's a lot of stopping and walking around and finding locations and then trying to balance a bike, and there's just things.
Yeah,
you got to be on your feet walking around.
We fully transitioned to basically exclusively SPDs for work probably this summer.
Mm-hmm.
Because even last year we were still using road pedals, and it's just easier using SPDs for what we do. And then you kind of get to the point where you go, well, they do just make sense. And you've always used them. You know, if you were doing a bikepacking trip, you would always use an SPD rather than a road because it just makes more sense. You're always walking around and doing stuff.
Well, I was doing things like finish a bikepacking trip in a place and I'd be there for a few weeks and then I'd take all the stuff off and I'd just have a road bike and do normal road rides with, fast rides. And I'd have those SPDs and I was like, this doesn't really slow me down noticeably. And they're way more practical. And they make, because of gravel, shoes that look less mountain bikey. So
I've actually just got a pair of Bont's off-road gravel shoe, and it is so astronomically stiff that it legitimately feels like a road shoe, and that is something I have not experienced before. Because a lot of, I think that's probably the issue that a lot of like roadies have with SPDs is that it feels like a softer, more flexible shoe.
Sloppy shoe.
Yes, it feels sloppy when you're riding it. But there's definitely premium off-road shoes now.
Yeah.
That are like, well, they're like race shoes, but they're SPDs.
Because it's a much smaller cleat, the stiffness of the sole matters more. So it has to be a really stiff sole if you don't want it to flex around the cleat.
That's not necessarily a bad thing.
What, the flex?
Well,
if I have any flex in my shoe, I end up with sore feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, uncomfortable. I really don't like it.
Ride with less power.
Impossible.
Soft pedal everything.
Possible.
Well, I think we're going to get a set and we're going to have a little play around with them. So I'm sure at some point in the next month or two, we'll drop a video on one of our channels with some info on it.
Bella needs a wee, so let's stop
Intermission.
for a second.
Bella's been running around like a nutter.
Come on then, kid. Right, is everything on? Are we working?
We're back.
So we were just talking about some new tech, and I've got some more new tech for us. So there is a new bit of kit that almost turns any bike into a cargo bike.
It almost turns any bike, or it turns almost any bike?
It turns almost any bike into a cargo bike.
Almost is a stretch.
So it's called the Argo Cargo Kit, and it's essentially a bucket-style cargo attachment that bolts onto the front of most bikes. They claim it can carry up to 68 kilogram, and it works with hybrids, step-throughs, rear hub e-bikes, fat bikes, etc. The company says most drop bar gravel and road bikes will work too. They'll just need to buy longer brake hoses and cables because the front wheel is way out the front. It has an RRP of $1,399, which is just over £1,000. It's coming from the States, so potentially some import if you are outside of the USA. So I think we should have a little discussion about this where we assume that they've done appropriate R&D and it is safe and fit for purpose. Is that fair?
Well, I think unless we can prove otherwise, the libel laws would say yes, we would have to do that.
Okay. So what do we think?
I love stuff like this. I'm attracted to stuff like this. E-bike kits, conversion kits, tinkering with bikes. That's why.
But is this is because you're a YouTuber?
Yes.
And you're thinking
and
about...
way more into bikes than normal people.
Yeah, fair.
I think lots of other people will be also interested. Like, I could use my existing bike and put a cargo thing on the front. There's something appealing about that. It's a project.
That said, we've done at least 2 e-bike conversion kits, and the conclusion of both of those videos were it will void your warranty and you're better off buying something purpose-built.
Exactly. Therefore, I cannot recommend it.
For the same reasons.
And probably this for the same reasons. Yeah. Can we add to this the compatibility? It doesn't work with any press fit bottom bracket. So the way it fits on, it attaches to your front axle and your BB. So it's quite a secure fitting in theory. I imagine it would still void your warranty, but the type of BB you have plays into it. You can't use any press fits. You can't use SRAM BB shells. So it is limited. It's going to fit loads of normal flat bar hybrid bikes and things like that, though.
Yeah, I guess the typical bike you would put it on would typically have a compatible BB, which I guess is why they're using the language they're using. It will fit most bikes. I think what they actually mean is it will fit most bikes of the people that want to fit it.
Yeah. It probably is most bikes if you think about the bikes that
totally
normal
is.
people ride. It's just we're in the performance world. It's £1,000.
It does pose the question of, well, what other options are there? So what can you get for £1,000 if you were in the market for a cargo bike?
Oh, well, I did some Googling.
Oh, convenient.
Straight away, I found a Ridgeback on Google, and it was electric with an RRP of £2,000, but I found it immediately discounted to 1,500 and 999 quid. And that's electric. So there's non-electric versions which are even cheaper. Slightly less storage space. It's not the big bucket style of cargo bike. A lot of those are a bit more expensive, and they tend to be electric as well. So they are a bit more pricey. But by the time you've spent money on the original bike, assuming you don't already have one, and then the time invested in getting it working, I'm not sure the economics make complete sense.
Surely you're only buying this kit if you already have a bike. Surely you're not buying a bike and then buying this kit to convert this bike.
It's got to be for someone who's their heart is set on using that bike.
I get a massive positive though is we want more people riding bikes. We want more people using bikes instead of cars. I'm a big believer of e-bikes and cargo bikes. And therefore, if things like this get more people riding bikes, then I am for it. There is always just that caveat of, would a dedicated purpose-built bike not be a better option than a conversion?
So the thing that makes me a little bit nervous is a Kickstarter-style campaign, which is obviously a way of them funding the production of the new model. Is it 2.0 of this product? It still seems like it is in early stages of it's a fairly new product. And I don't know if I would want to be the guinea pig when there isn't that many things like this on the market. There isn't competition yet for these conversion kits. I would wait and let other people test this out before even considering it. With any like power meters, the early switch kits, early e-bike conversion kits, do you really want to be the first people trying them? There's always little issues. And if £1,000 is a huge investment to make on something that might have little problems, especially if you're relying on it to go to work or as to go shopping, and you're relying on it as a mode of transport, it becomes even more important.
It's the analogy I often use in this space is early flat screen TVs. I'm saying specifically flat screen is, if you recall, when flat screens first came out, they were all plasma TVs, which were incredibly hot and not particularly fantastic. And they were super big, and they cost, I think, 10 grand was the price I remember for a 55-inch early plasma flat screen TV. And now you can get a 55-inch TV, which is an LCD, which doesn't get hot, which is paper thin for like 200 quid. So let other people make those mistakes. Wait for the economy of scale to trickle down and get stuff that is proven and cheap.
And just buy a pre-built cargo bike.
That as well.
Okay, so next, Canyon has just announced that their CEO is leaving the company and that the original founder is taking over as the new boss. So DeRoss Wallace joined Canyon as a CEO in 2022 after a career at Nike. During his time, Canyon's annual sales doubled to nearly $934 million US. But reports suggest Canyon's first half of this year's sales are down 5%, EBITDA is down 30%, and it made a net loss of $5.8 million US. Also, the Belgian investment group, which bought a majority stake in the company in 2020, substantially devalued its investment at the end of last year. So, like most of the cycling industry right now, things are a little bit turbulent. Wallace's exit was apparently by mutual agreement, and they've said that they're not looking for a new CEO. Instead, Roman Arnold, who founded the company in 1996, that's not that long ago, is it, will take on responsibilities as executive chairman. I can't wait, Francis, until you do the bizarre, interesting facts about Canyon, because they are a relatively new player. 1996 is not that long ago.
There's one going live today which actually has some Canyon stuff in.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Cervelo had a big lawsuit. Well, they settled things privately in the end, but there was some court proceedings.
You think 96 is not that long ago?
No, it was like 10 years ago, wasn't it?
Okay, I see. You're lining up a joke.
What does EBITDA mean?
It's like sales before tax, blah, blah, blah.
Earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization or something like that.
Cool.
It's my world, Francis,
Yeah,
not yours.
that's a world I don't want to be in. Thanks. Enjoy it.
So I think this isn't anything to be surprised about. We saw GCN not that long ago go back to the original founders and Warner Brothers pull themselves out. I feel like the industry is very much repositioning itself. We've seen some businesses go bust. I think lots of businesses out there are looking at, well, how do we now position ourselves going forward with the glory days of sales just happening without any effort coming to an end? I think what we are actually seeing here, and will have an impact on the cycling industry over the next decade or two, is I think the VC money, the venture capitalist money, which has basically been propping up the industry for the last decade, has dried up. It is no longer available. They're not spending money in cycling. They've already lost a lot of money in cycling, and a lot of them are pulling out. They're not renewing their investments and continuing to give runway to businesses. I'm not necessarily saying that happened in Canyon or GCN as an example, but the fact that investment is pulling back will be having an impact on how brands position themselves going forward. And I think that's essentially what we're seeing here.
Because you kind of see trends with that, don't you? Like when you get hot areas of investment and then there'll be pools of money, and when it goes more cold and other things become hot, AI, etc.,
Correct.
the money seems to flow elsewhere.
Yes, and that flow of money into cycling is no longer happening, I would say, at all. But definitely not like it was even 3 years ago. 3 years was where it started to pull back. And, you know, there's plenty of examples. I actually think Le Col is a really good example of it. They crowdfunded £1 million probably 7 years ago. And then they had VC money pumped into them nearly every year, significant millions. And I would imagine there's a possibility they won't be getting any more VC money, which will obviously have an impact on how they now adapt their business to be able to account for that. And I think that will apply to many businesses out there.
Is this speculation? Do I need to fact check this, Jimmy?
Which bit of it?
Anything about what you said about Le Col?
You don't need to fact check any of it.
Okay, great.
The only bit I don't know is because I'm no longer in the apparel industry, is I don't know if they have had any new VC money recently. My prediction is no, unless their VC have gone for one last punt.
I can't do this research on the fly right now, Jimmy. I will add a little thing somewhere.
If I'm wrong.
Yes.
I'm not going to be wrong. Don't worry. I, as someone which has an interest in business, I'm quite looking forward to seeing what happens over the next decade. It could be anything, but I think what we'll actually see is much more sustainable business models, whereas historically they have been just slinging, get sales. And now they're going to be looking at really good quality product offerings. And I think we are all going to benefit as a result of that.
Oh, well, that would be nice.
It would.
That would be lovely.
What we're going to see is a transition to the consumer focus first, because they now know they have to work hard to get people to buy their products. And that is what's going to benefit everyone.
Mm-hmm. High quality products like the Rapha Cycling Club's 10th anniversary special edition jersey, which is our fluff up of the week. So this week's fluff up of the week goes to Rapha, and they admitted they messed up and have refunded customers over a printing error on a special edition RCC kit. Well, this is, to me, it's even more special. It's a £195 Pro Team Aero jersey, cap and musette, according to Road CC. It included the RCC crest and the words 10 years of the Rapha Cycling Club. Unfortunately, they misspelled the word club, and it came out as Cliub.
CLIUB.
It wasn't spotted before the kit went out to the people, so they had to offer refunds and do a reprint. So they've just got an extra special jersey. What just happened there?
Sorry, Bella just
pulled your earphone out.
Jumped on my earphone. Yeah, they have. I think so. Jimmy, you said this before the show. It's going to be a cult jersey, that misprint.
This is going to end up on like eBay for 500 quid because everyone is going to want the kit, the jersey that you can't get. Is how close are those letters together on a keyboard? Is this like a fat thumb moment?
They are right next to each other.
I don't know why
you'd
be typing with your thumb, but
it's good. It was intentional, so we talked about it.
Maybe.
Probably. Guerrilla marketing.
Now we know that the Rapha Cycling Club is 10 years old. I would have said it was more than that. 1996
I would have said more.
No, I'm joking. No. It was a callback. No, I would have said it was more than 2015.
But this is specifically RCC, not just Rapha.
In my head, that's been around for ages, though.
Well, it's been around as long as you've been a proper cyclist.
Yeah, maybe that's why, yeah.
Can I also change from proper to serious?
Thanks.
That's a better word, I think.
It's a better word.
You've always been a proper cyclist.
Mm-hmm. In my heart. Yeah, I mean, listen, stuff will always go wrong at some point. It's more about how you deal with it. Very similar to the Wahoo issue last week. They acknowledged it and dealt with it quickly. Some people were upset with how we covered that story last week.
What did we say? I can't remember. It was a week ago.
We read the facts and then just had a joke about it like we did in every other segment. Like, listen, if you haven't got the point of the show already, that is actually it. It isn't news. It's an entertainment show. I think everyone else acted weird about it. I don't think that we did act weird. I think everyone else was weird about it. But everyone was happy with how Wahoo handled it. And I'm sure everyone's happy with how Rapha handled it as well. Fluff ups happen. That's why we have our whole fluff up of the week section. That's the point.
Can we also appreciate the margin that Rapha are making on this £195 jersey, cap and musette?
Just like Standert, you're paying because you want the tech things that you want the design.
Exactly. This is like, you cannot reject that idea because you have previously you've bought a Mini, and I think that is the height of paying extra for.
What do you mean?
For the look, the brand.
A Mini?
A Mini Cooper.
Oh, a car?
Yes.
Oh, right.
Like, look, you could have got a Kia, but you didn't. You got a Mini Cooper.
Yeah, but this is a complex answer, which I can give you if you want.
I don't want you to give that answer.
Nah, you are showy as well, just admit it. This was 20 years ago, to be fair.
What I will say is I paid for it, but it wasn't my car.
Also, only the old Mini is cool.
The only reason you bring this up, so basically, I bought a 2-year-old Mini Cooper in 2006. I gave it to my mother, and it wasn't, in 2006, it wasn't for me, it was for someone else. Then in 2010, I gave it to my mother. My mother's had it for the last 15 years, has just got a new car because the 2004 Mini is just absolutely hideous, and I've been trying to get her to change it for a long time. But because she's so funny about things, she's basically forced me to take ownership back of it. It's actually the first time I've ever owned it myself, 19 years later or whatever it is. So now I have a Mini Cooper. It is very fun.
We have a Mini Cooper.
We do, yes. It is a lot of fun, I'll be honest.
Yeah, fine. Sorry, that was a deviation.
It was a deviation.
Listen, this is the format of the show. We read the headlines and we talk about something that's completely irrelevant. That is the format.
Have we got anything else to say on this jersey? I don't think so.
Nah. I totally agree. This is the sort of thing that will go down in history as a cult. iconic thing.
I'm sure there's like in the watch world, I'm sure there's like certain watches where there was like a misprint on a dial, but like a really subtle misprint, like one of the letters was like 2 millimeters too far to the side. And those are the kind of things that people covet because there's something unique about them, something special about them. I bet I'll put money on it that on AliExpress in a couple of weeks' time, you will be able to buy this.
The misprint. I think you already can. Rapha.
We had a fluff up of what?
And there's our fluff up.
We had a fluff up as well.
Yeah, we did. The podcast went out 2.5 hours late last week.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, the video version. I don't even know why. Do you remember we left on the night before it went live and I went, wait a second, I'm going to go back to my laptop and double check.
Yeah.
It was scheduled and it said it was scheduled and then the next day it said it wasn't even uploaded.
Oh, you had to re-upload it?
Yeah, it just wasn't. It was...
See, tech problems.
Something went wrong. Exactly.
Tech problems.
Yeah.
Thought it was January the 6th.
I've been...
Wait, January 2006.
Yeah. It's been bad lately. I don't know. I keep fluffing up my bit.
Sounds like you need a holiday.
I do. Hanging on there. Today's episode of the Wild Ones podcast is supported by Garmin.
I've actually been using Garmin bike computers and watches for well over a decade now.
Yeah, me too.
I actually bought my first one in 2012. It was the Forerunner 410, and I was training for my very first triathlon at the time.
And how did that go, Jimmy?
Well, it would have gone great if I hadn't accidentally miscounted my bike laps and got myself DQ'd for doing one short.
Rookie error. You should have used the laps function.
I know. But my point is, Garmin's have been part of our lives for a long time now. So it was a bit of a full circle moment when they came on board to support the channel.
And they don't just make watches and head units with bike-specific GPS mapping and performance monitoring.
Nope. They also make power meters, heart rate monitors, smart bike lights that capture video and alert you when cars are approaching, tax indoor trainers, and so much more.
So thank you to Garmin for supporting this podcast.
Time for some unpopular opinions. We're going to read out some cycling hot takes, we'll debate them, and decide if we agree or disagree. The first one is from Jack, who says, unpopular opinion, the barrier to entry for cycling clubs is too high. Most are really only appropriate for keen cyclists, aka people who are already pretty fit and able. Social rides are often 30 plus miles, midweek rides are big climbs and 20 mile an hour minimum sprint circuits. Even the clubs that take themselves less seriously are like this. My issue is, if you're trying to get fit rather than already being fit, you won't be able to keep up. Many of my friends like a good bike ride, but I'd never invite them to a beginner session at my club because I know they'd struggle at best and totally fail to keep up at worst. How do you possibly encourage new people into the sport when all the clubs require you to be an amateur athlete to begin with? No other sport would expect this level of fitness from new members. It's a very good point.
It is a good point. I would like to preface this whole section with we are not in the club space and we haven't been for a very long time. So we're coming at this with not the greatest amount of information.
The latest information.
Exactly.
I think the key here is actually the use of the word sport. And one of the interesting and challenging things about cycling is that it is vast. Mm-hmm. It isn't. There are people that do it for sport, but there are also people that ride bikes not for sport. They actually use a bike for transport and for social and for mobility. So there's this challenge of matching the person with what they're actually trying to achieve, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and there's different disciplines. I was trying to think about this in terms of what happens in other sports. So, for example, I used to play netball in school. I haven't played for 10 years, and I found locally, I Googled netball club near me. And there was one that was like a back to netball session, which was for newbies or people who had not done it since school, because that's a lot of people. And you go there and there's a coach who was there basically all night, conduct hour sessions, one for newbies, one for a little bit better, one for a little bit better, one for young'uns, basically, who are like doing England tryouts. So there's all the different
hierarchy.
Yeah, abilities catered for. And the coach is basically there not as a participant, purely as a facilitator. And I think the difference is with a lot of the vast majority of clubs is that the facilitators are also participants. It's like a hybrid function. You're there to, you'll ride lead, but actually you're there because you want to get your ride on a Tuesday night or on a weekend as well. And maybe that's why a lot of them are set up for the type of person who is actually fit enough to lead a ride. You know what I mean? It's like it's there is a lot. It feels like maybe from the outside there is a lot of club availability for one type of person.
Yeah.
And not that much underneath. And I actually don't have a problem with that. The only problem I have is when those kinds of clubs say they are all inclusive, open to anyone, and then don't do a no drop ride, would not be able to cater for you if you turned up with flat pedals or a flat bar or whatever. If you can't cater for that, I would rather know in advance and then not turn up if that wasn't for me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think something we all definitely agree on is that the club structure, definitely in the UK, is just grossly out of date. It is mostly tailored for a very specific person. And as a result of that, it isn't very inclusive, and it doesn't often invite people to want to ride more and be part of something. There was definitely a point a number of years ago where this collectives thing reared itself, and it was more like groups of people that just like riding bikes together. And they would often be quite closed. They would often end up being unintentionally elitist because they didn't want more people in, because it was ended up just being a group of mates. But for that group of people, it was probably quite inclusive in the sense of, well, we do it how we want to do it rather than how the club structure. I guess part of the issues with club structure is that they are built around grassroots racing development, and therefore a lot of it is about how to ride in groups, how to do chain grangs, how to be fitter, how to ride fast, how to ride a crit race. Not all, but a lot of it is structured in a way that's about performance. There's definitely scope for improvements, and there are definitely some things out there that are good, most notably in bigger cities, most notably in London. But I do agree with what Jack is saying, that there is a space that's harder to cater for people. You
know, one area that they always cater for this kind of thing is branded shop rides. And like when you used to run Atticus, you would do an Atticus ride out, and it would be come to this location at the weekend, and then there's a ride leader, and there's maybe 2 or 3 different speeds of group. And the same thing happens from shops in LA all the time. There'll be the map ride, and there's always a non-drop speed. And because someone is essentially being paid, or there is some sort of incentive to look after the riders and to be the coach or ride leader. And but you can't, I guess it's a tall order. It's a hard ask for someone to give up their weekend if they're just a member of a club, to be that person and to potentially sacrifice what they want to do that weekend to ride at a pace they don't want to ride at, because they'd be, wanting to ride faster or whatever.
It's a facilitator role. It's completely that. It is not, in that situation, it's not a hybrid participant facilitator role. It's completely facilitator. You are a coach, you are doing something for the betterment of other people. I don't think it's wrong to say I would like to get paid for that time, because it is a hard task. There is a lot of responsibility, and you want to encourage the right sort of person to be there. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, we'll pay for that. Just like I would if I turned up to my netball sessions.
Going back to your example of a map ride in LA, I'm sure they are trying to do inclusive things, but they have an astronomically huge barrier to entry in that every single thing that they do is people with really cool bikes that have all of the best, most expensive kit you can possibly imagine. And you wouldn't look in as that as a complete novice and go, that space is for me.
Sure, it's very brand specific. I don't know why that one popped into my head, but there'll be...
The example we have discussed, which I'm going to hand back to you to explain, is the
Wood
gravel shop. Yeah.
Yeah. Lyndhurst? It's like near Southampton. the New Forest. There's a shop there called the Woods Cyclery, which we've talked about before. We know the guy that runs it, Tom.
I love them. I think they're amazing.
It's basically the opposite of a fast racery club ride, and it's a lot of people wearing normal clothes. It's not like you have to wear Lycra. They have a bunch of different speeds of group, and they ride usually off-road. I don't know if they do a road one as well. Maybe.
I had a look through their commute and I could only see off-road because they're so close to well, they're on the New Forest, aren't they? So some of that is tarmacked, but it's...
I think what they have is really clean gravel, actual gravel that's like, that small little fine stuff that you can legitimately ride any bike on.
Oh yeah, I've been on the ride. You can do it on a road bike.
Yeah. I think that's the difference, is that yes, they are doing off-road rides, but it's not like doing an off-road ride in the Northeast where it's actually mountain biking.
Yeah, they do it so well, and I wish there was more of that.
Yeah, totally.
That's the shop that's organising it.
The only thing that I would challenge to your point, Jimmy, is that looks can be deceiving, because as Francis said, we used to do those rides. We had nice bikes. We were in tight Lycra, and I think that my objective was, if you turned up on that ride, no matter what ability you were, you would have a good time, because we had enough ride leaders and extras to accommodate different levels. And I also think sometimes there's like, I'm not counting the Wood Cyclery in this, but there are groups who say, we're chilled, we're relaxed. It's like Jack saying, the ones who don't take themselves seriously, and then you go and they are still taking themselves seriously. They're not racing, but it's still about performance and it is still a competitive element. So I think, looks can be deceiving. Don't judge a book by its cover. However, his point of generally, if we had a new mate that was pretty new to the sport, like a novice, new basic handling skills, yes, to be safe, but actually the fitness wasn't there, and they didn't look the part, in inverted commas or whatever, where would we send them? We wouldn't.
No idea.
Maybe
in London, I think it would probably be quite easy to find some clubs that actually do a legit beginners, no drop ride. You also have Regents and Richmond Park in London, which are actually, this I think all regions need to have a place where you can ride in circles. And I don't mean a velodrome, I mean a circuit. Because what you benefit from riding in circles is you get to control the environment, the distance, the speed. You get to invite people and do things in a different way. I am desperately trying to find somewhere in the Northeast that I can convince whoever owns it to enable the public to access circles.
You also remove the fear of, if I do get dropped, am I going to get lost? And if you've gone to, I don't know, London Dynamo do a ride around Richmond Park. Well, they definitely did. I don't know if they got in trouble for it, for the groups being too big. That was a thing at one point. But if you went on that and you chose a group that was a bit too fast and you got dropped, well, the worst is you just keep going round, and then the cafe's there, probably 4 miles later at maximum.
Mm-hmm.
So
you can rest for a lap and then wait for the group to come back around.
Yeah.
I think riding in circles is so valuable, and I think if more regions had places where anyone can go, and even if you've got to pay a couple of quid for it, whatever it is, you've got this space where if you've never ridden a bike before, you can learn to ride while someone is also doing intervals. Lee Valley Velodrome was a great example of it. It was a 1 mile crit track, essentially, right next to the Olympic Velodrome. You pay 5 quid, you can use it any time of the day. You would have kids learning to ride, whilst you'd also have people like me doing actual training intervals, and the road's wide enough, it's safe enough. It's such a great way of people being able to build some confidence. It's actually where you rode a drop bar road bike for the first time.
It is on the smoothest tarmac in the world. Doesn't get better than that.
Yeah. And we had to rent a bike off of them because you didn't even have one. And it was still massive, but that's a whole nother problem. What I would love to do is find somewhere in the Northeast that allows us to do these off-road or closed road circuits, and I would be more than happy to give up some of my time every single morning to teach people and educate people how to ride safely on road so that they can then elevate themselves and do other things, commute, whatever they wanted to do. But currently I'm struggling to find anywhere. If you happen to be in the Northeast and know anywhere, then let me know, get in touch.
You're a very good no-drop ride leader, actually, Jimmy, having worked with you in that capacity.
Because I am Mr. Demotivator to myself. The slower I can go, the happier I am.
Yeah, but you're quite firm in your when it's about safety. You're really good at being very concise with your instructions. He is not a man of woolly words, as we know, and he's very good at keeping people in line, but also very encouraging. And it's like the right level. You are good at it.
Thank you.
Right. Okay. Couple of points. If you're in the UK, it's worth having a look at British Cycling's letsride.co.uk website. If you put in your location in the search bar, you can find current local events. This is not an ad, it's just some research that I've done. There are 10-mile rides and stuff like that there. Stuff described as steady, easygoing pace, on-road, off-road, e-bikes. Locations really do differ though. There's lots in some places and not much in others. For example, in our area, there are 10-mile rides going on, but it's women's only. It's the breeze rides, which is fabulous. But it doesn't help if your friend's a guy who's a newbie. The problem with those rides as well, it's what you were coming back to, is that like if you group all women cyclists together, again, that's a broad spectrum. There's not that many of us around, but our ability will then be very different. I know mates who have gone on the breeze rides and had a time. I was trying
to work out if you could say it.
Yeah, I had a crap time because it was just, it was too beginner for them, which is absolutely fine. But then there's a fragmentation there as well of if you feel safer riding with women, if you just want to do that, then there's, it's difficult, isn't it? Like we are actually catering for so many different people under the banner of cyclist. Francis, you made the point. Look for no drop rides is the
key
term.
word, isn't it? Yeah.
And a true no-drop ride is no one gets left behind. But also if you're on a no-drop ride, it means that you might have to stop a lot when you don't necessarily want to. Well, that's the kind of point as well.
We kind of avoided it when we used to do the Atticus ones, is we'd have a fast group, which was usually, I think, 25 kbh. We'd have a middle group, which was 20, and then we'd have a third group, which gave either the people in the faster groups the opportunity to drop back, or what we did was the people which thought that would come to us and go, I think I'm not going to be fast enough, we would just start at the back of the slowest group and let ourselves drop away, and you just form a little gruppetto, if you want to use that term, at the back, and you just have a good time and a chat and enjoy it.
We'd basically put more ride leaders in that last group, so it actually had the opportunity to fragment more.
Exactly.
So I'd end up leading the slowest group of the ride, and then anyone else who was behind that would then go with you. So it actually then doesn't impede. And then
as long as everyone always has the route on their head unit, then it allows you to go, are you okay? Are you struggling? Oh, it's a bit fast for me. Well, are you happy dropping back to the next group? Yeah, I am. Okay, cool. So just ease off and then you'll get swept up.
However, this is not helpful for this section because we do not do those rides anymore.
Correct.
So,
but some people do.
Some people do, exactly. So we mentioned Wood Cyclery. I think we should let our audience put some suggestions in the comments. These should be rides that you have personally been on and would vet and would say are suitable for newbies to the sport, beginners, people who might be low on confidence, low on fitness, low on
Think of it as, would you send your nana on a hybrid to that ride? If the answer is yes, then it's appropriate.
Exactly. So put what the ride is, put where it is, the locations, and that you can vouch for them. And then let's share a bit of the wisdom. And also not just UK based, wherever you are in the world, do it.
I can't imagine my nana on a bike.
I missed the Wood Cyclery ride. I want to go back and do it again. Me and Jack from Garmin went on it, and then we stopped, and we were like waiting for some people, and then someone got out like a little pot, a stove. It was like cooking a coffee. Yeah, like, this is my kind of ride. I wish I had a stove.
This is what me and Emily used to do. We always used to go out with a coffee machine.
Yeah. And he used to drink it because I didn't drink coffee, so it was me just waiting for him to brew a coffee, drink his coffee, so we could move on.
Yeah.
Anyway,
on the subject of moving on.
Yeah, let's move on. Next one is from Richard, who says, unpopular opinion, headwinds are the best way to train for long, sustainable power output. Many people complain about headwinds because they want to go fast, but in my opinion, it is the quality of the time spent rather than the distance travelled.
I despise headwinds. I've had this opinion for a long time because it's essentially going uphill without you actually knowing the gradient in front of you.
Well, and there's no descent afterwards.
And there's no descent, unless it turns to a tailwind.
Yeah.
I would much rather change headwinds are the best to 2 to 3% gradients are the best. Because then you can see what you're working to and you can still do, as he's talking about, your long sustained power output, if that's what you're trying to do.
I just love a long climb. The descent's the best bit.
That's the worst bit. Climb's better than the descent.
I think the only thing demoralising about headwind is that it's not constant. At least if it's like that 2% gradient, you know it's coming. You've mentally prepared for it. Whereas headwinds is like, oh, I'm here. Oh, no, not today. Oh, no, I'm back.
Well, no, it's always headwind on the way out, and then you turn around, and then it's headwind on the way back.
Yeah, it's all psychological though, isn't it? You have to get there, and you have to go, yay! This is going to make me a better cyclist.
It's mental training.
Yeah,
it cracks me.
Richard also sent us a very nice email, which I read. And Richard, I hope that your surgery goes well and you're back on the bike soon. He said he found us around episode 85 and decided to go back and listen to some of the earlier ones and basically got a jump scare at how bad they were. He didn't actually say that. He said it in a very nice way, but that is what I deduced. He said, it was interesting listening to your 85th podcast and then going back and listening to the first ones. At first, it was jarring as a lot has changed over the next 84 iterations. But here are some of my favourite changes. Emily becoming more confident and an active part of the podcast.
You were just a voice
I know.
for a while.
And then there was a point where I was like, I'm not going to speak more. Stop making me speak more. And now you can't put me back in the box.
Can't stop you,
There's one person who used to write and be like, I liked it better when Emily didn't speak.
That guy.
Sorry, dude. Next thing he liked was the rotation of the different segments, so it's not always the same. Jimmy's mantra of be comfortable and have fun, the fluff up of the day edit and the Tour de France coverage, and Francis's childlike joy about cycling and bikes, which is a feeling which rapidly developed for him when he started.
Oh,
So that's nice.
I have childlike joy about pretty much everything.
You do.
Not just bikes. Yeah, very joyful.
Yeah.
And triumphant.
Triumphant.
Yeah.
Is that a song?
Are we done?
We're done on this section.
Oh, okay.
We are going a bit over, so maybe we'll wrap it up.
Do you have an unpopular cycling opinion? We want to hear it. Send yours to wildeonespodcast@cademedia.co.uk and you might feature on a future episode.
And don't forget, you can also send us your questions and comments for Listeners Takeover, like this one from John in Inverness, who says, great show. The end. Let's wrap it up. No. He says, great show. In episode 96, you discussed a situation where Jimmy adapted his cycling speed to the road conditions. There's a technique taught in advanced driving called driving to the limit point, and it sounds like Jimmy was following some of that advice, whether he knows it or not. Did you know it, Jimmy?
I didn't, but I knew I was a gangster driver / cyclist, and this has just confirmed it.
Fine. So he says limit point driving is essentially basing your speed on how much road you can see in front of you so that you can always stop should a hazard appear. Sounds simple enough. He says, as an example, it is the speed you should go around a corner, imagining that there might be a grand piano or an elephant standing in the road just behind the bend. Can you stop comfortably without hitting them?
See, this is the sort of stuff that I do, and clearly most of the population don't, because the amount of people that overtake whilst I'm cycling without being able to see anything, it obviously drives me insane. I work on the basis of, if I don't know what's there, then there could just as easily be a cyclist, a hazard, a tractor or whatever. Therefore, I need to be able to appropriately stop if I can't see what's going on.
I don't drive, so I can only speak for when I'm on a bike. But in the UK, I go fast down descents. When I'm in places like Thailand, I take things easier. And I usually get dropped by the people I'm descending with, because I'm scared there's going to be things like there was a giant green snake across the road and things like that, or like a giant hose pipe, or just thick. There's just a lot more like
Stuff.
wild, random generated items. Yeah. Yeah.
So John says, once you've nailed it, it makes driving vastly safer and more comfortable, and it can be applied to cycling too. A word of warning though, when I was taught this technique and applied it to cycling, it ruined my descending speeds. I used to happily descend alpine cols at loopy speeds, 105 kilometres per hour on Ventoux, for instance. But he doesn't do that anymore. That is wild. Riding in a bunch is trickier because you have to trust the judgment of the person in front, but with a little practice, you can apply the same rules. And he says he recommends any driver do an advanced driving course.
So clearly I apply these rules. So track cycling, I did one track session And then I refused to do any more for exactly the reason he's talking here. I wasn't willing to trust the other people doing the track accreditation, and therefore I wasn't able to pass the accreditation because I wasn't willing to ride on their wheel because I couldn't trust them. Yes, you can argue because it's fixed gear, it's less dangerous, but I'm not willing to put my life or my comfort in other people's hands. And then also, I descend slowly because of this as well. Because my brain is going, well, I don't know what's going to... There's a car potentially going to come around that corner. Therefore, I need to ensure that I'm on my side of the road. So yeah, you could say it's ruined my descending, but I would say it's improved it. Thanks, John.
Thanks, John.
For confirming I'm class.
In Inverness, I once went to Inverness for approximately 2.5 minutes and then I left because I went there by accident. I fell asleep on a train.
Fluff up of that week.
Yeah. I was trying to get to Newcastle and I ended up in Inverness.
You were asleep a long time.
Yeah, well, I had to change at Carlisle or something and I literally woke up as we were leaving Carlisle and I was like, where's the next stop? And they were like, Inverness in 3 hours' time.
And then did you go, where's Verness?
It was a good one. Wrap us up, Jimmy.
That's all for this week. Thank you very much for listening. Make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss out on the next episode. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
See ya.
Bye.